Today's episode of Off the Timeline is titled, What If Notre Dame Used the Big East to Reshape the 90s? In 1995, Notre Dame faced a choice that could have reshaped college football: join the Big Ten, double down on independence, or quietly use another conference as leverage. What if Notre Dame didn't just flirt with the Big East? What if they used it to reshape the entire power structure of the 90s? This is alternate history, but it's rooted in real incentives, real TV contracts, and real conference anxiety. And if one move plays out differently, the ACC raid happens elsewhere, the Big Ten gets nervous sooner, and Notre Dame walks away stronger than ever. Let's rewind. Let's set the table for the real 1995 landscape. By 1995, Notre Dame was financially secure. The NBC contract was sacred. Independence was core to identity. But the Bull Alliance had formed. Conference championship games were printing money, and whispers of a future centralized championship model were growing louder. Independents were vulnerable. And you may be thinking yourself that Notre Dame didn't need a conference. Financially, yes. Politically, less certain. If conference champions start controlling access to national titles, independence becomes riskier long term. And Notre Dame leadership is not reckless, they're institutional. And that sets the table to the Big East opportunity. Enter the Big East. Football's unstable, basketball first reputation, Miami carries the brand, and the league needs legitimacy. Notre Dame didn't need the Big East, but the Big East needed Notre Dame. So instead of surrendering independence, imagine this alternate history move. Notre Dame signs a 6-year hybrid football affiliation beginning in 1996. Not full membership, not surrender, a pilot model. Key details are NBC keeps Notre Dame home rights, Notre Dame plays 5 conference games annually, rivalries remain protected, conference championship structure is explored, and revenue increases across the league due to Notre Dame inventory. This is not domination, it's leverage layering. And let's set the table for why the Big East says yes. You may be thinking to yourself that Miami would never allow Notre Dame to control the league. Correct, and they don't. This is framed as mutual growth. When Notre Dame plays at Miami, the game now counts towards conference value. When Notre Dame travels to Virginia Tech or Boston College, ratings spike. The pie grows, revenue increases, legitimacy increases. Suddenly, the Big East feels like an Eastern power block instead of a basketball league with helmets. While this is alternate history, it does mirror mid-90s experimentation in conference structure. And that sets the table for the subtle Big Ten unease. This is where things escalate. The Big Ten doesn't panic publicly, but internally, they notice something. Penn State is less isolated. Eastern recruiting optics improve for the Big East. Notre Dame now has conference title access without losing NBC. And you may be thinking to yourself that the Big Ten wouldn't care, but the Big Ten's leverage rests on stability and tradition. If Notre Dame finds a hybrid model that works, that's dangerous. Expansion studies begin earlier. Eastern outreach conversations accelerate quietly. No collapse, just tension. And that sets the table for the ACC moving early. And this and this is a real fracture. The ACC has the TV renegotiation window approaching in the early 2000s. In this alternate history, the Big East is stronger than in real life because of Notre Dame's affiliation. Miami and Virginia Tech have elevated visibility. ESPN sees valuable consolidation opportunity. Instead of waiting until 2003, the ACC raids in 2001. Miami and Virginia Tech leave 2 years earlier. That destabilizes the Big East faster. And you may be thinking to yourself that Notre Dame would fight to hold the league together. But here's the twist. Notre Dame's contract was fixed term, 6 years. They don't look desperate. They don't scramble. They just let the contract expire in 2002, and then they walk away. And that sets the table for the quiet power broker outcome. This is where the universe earns its core. Notre Dame doesn't collapse. They don't get boxed in. They don't look weak. They tested conference affiliation. They increased leverage. They influenced TV politics. And they returned to independence stronger. The Big Ten learned something. The ACC accelerated something. The Big East collapsed earlier, but Notre Dame stays intact. This alternate history isn't about domination, it's about institutional optionality. And you may be thinking to yourself that Notre Dame would never risk its brand on a temporary affiliation. But the 90s were unstable. Bowl structures were changing. Insurance testing made sense. And you may be thinking to yourself that the Big East would never allow flexible Notre Dame terms. But increased revenue and national exposure changes negotiation dynamics. You may be thinking to yourself that this makes Notre Dame look manipulative, but the move is defensive, not aggressive. It's quiet leverage, not conquest. In closing out, if this would have happened, ACC expansion would have accelerated, Big Ten Eastern research begins earlier, Big East instability timeline changes, Notre Dame would prove hybrid affiliation works, and independence would become strategically reinforced. This alternate history is grounded in real mid-90s incentives, and it almost feels inevitable once you follow the money. And if you enjoy this alternate history and want more deep dives into the power plays that could have reshaped college football, hit like so more fans see it. Comment below. Would Notre Dame have stayed longer, or was this always a leverage test? And subscribe if you want more what if universes that feel just a little too plausible. I'll see you in the next one.